It is now my pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Richard Brown. Richard was born in the small town of Newark, California, and moved to Lake Tahoe, where he committed himself to the study of English. He transferred from Lake Tahoe Community College to UC Davis in 2011. He has been the president of the UC Davis Fighting Games Club, a club for fans of Capcom games. In his experience at UC Davis, he valued his time spent with his professors and gives much thanks to them for the vast amount of knowledge they gave him in his 2 years. It's my pleasure to welcome Richard to the podium. Richard?
Thank you. To the UC Davis Provost, deans, administrators, faculty, staff, family, parents, and of course, fellow Aggies, I'd like to say thank you for this chance to instill the bit of wisdom that I've gained from my college experience. I was a bit nervous about speaking, but in preparation I asked my friend Eddie for some words of advice, and he said something that really helped. He said, "Don't worry, man, I probably won't even remember the speech from the graduations that year, so you'll be fine." Of course, he was joking, but he brings up a point about memories and the college experience. There's certainly much to remember from college, and I don't expect to be your number one highlight. Now is an exciting yet scary time, full of expectations that have been set before us since long before we got into Davis. Now we all have to do that important thing, look back on college and wonder, was it really all worth it? I have good news. I'm sure we all remember making the decision of what major we would pursue. It came with expectations, did it not? Whenever I declared that English was my major, I was often followed by the question, "Oh, English, so what are you going to do with that? Teach?" First of all, I'm not against that idea at all, but in just saying that, it almost shrinks my experience at Davis down to meagerness. Does my education always have to be associated with my job? You see, even before we get to school, somebody has already told us what we'll be, rich or poor, happy or sad. Articles in particular circulate rampantly, telling us how unlucky we are. Lynn O'Shaughnessy, a writer for Yahoo Finance, has a website and a magazine about college, and she presents the 20 worst paying degrees. As I was entering Davis, a 20 worst majors list was posted on the Facebook group for transfers. It contains just about every major that there is anyway, but you know what's funny about this to me is that the people writing these articles like O'Shaughnessy have degrees like my own. Why, after going to school to get the skills it takes to write for Yahoo, do they go on to tell us how unlikely it is that we'll get jobs? As a college student, I never felt much like a statistic, and we graduating should know that we have the best odds at remolding all the statistics. We are the educated. We are given the power to write articles, to teach others, and to create jobs. We are if not the fundamental assets to the future of our nation. I just took as many courses as O'Shaughnessy did in English. Why should her list tell me that I'm supposed to make less than her? But in her defense, she does make some lists that are designed to prepare one for college, and there are some lists that I enjoy because they show college in a light that I find familiar. 20 things we'll only get the chance to do in college. Lists like these depict dorm room scenes with students cramming for tests, friends crammed in a hot car on a summer road trip, one student perhaps walking over to the art lounge with pizza in one hand, hoping that there's a seat available, but you knew it was 12 o'clock and you knew there wasn't a chance that there was going to be a seat without a sleeping student in it. These lists, they tell me that college has been a time to live a different life than I may ever live again. Yes, some of us are thinking, well, thank goodness that's over. But if we look back closely into our memories, it's easy to see us together there, smiling. My own personal times are where I brought up a point in class and I felt validated by my professor. A joke I made that got everyone in class to laugh. Maybe a joke I made that didn't. Oops. I remember my friends and I deciding to drive to Walmart and Safeway at 2 a.m. because we heard that Twinkies were going for $50 a box on eBay. We of course didn't get any, and we had to regret, a little sadly, that we probably should have spent the time studying. I remember that first D paper I got that I swore I'd make up for, and the first time I got an A on a final. College life was so many, many things, And I never said, nor heard anyone say, you know about college, it was really hard, and I worked really hard at it, and it was tough, but I stuck to it, and finally I graduated and succeeded. What a waste. This simply doesn't happen because we're all the more lucky to have college behind us. We can celebrate the experiences that we're leaving behind, and we can go into this world not worrying about the statistics. Remember earlier the question that I spoke of. Well, what are you going to do with that? Teach? The answer to that question, as yours should be, is I'm going to do whatever I want to do with my degree. But thank you for trying to sum up my college experience into the single answer to a single question. I will do whatever I work hard to do because my degree is not designed to limit my future, but rather to enhance it. I am not a statistic or a dollar sign, but thank you for your concern. The best part is that now we're here so we can look back together. So thank you, Aggies. I want to thank you very personally for being part of my college experience. Over time, your memories will grow to be like lists, and even if this speech didn't make your top 20, I'm sure that you all have very rich and wonderful ones to remember.